We are part of nature. Everything that is part of nature must die. Iriana Derlene Eldaz. Some of you call her as Ir, Dazi, Derlene, Yayin, or by her surname. Iriana, when she was a juvenile, the concept of death to the people that she loved was her greatest fear. Losing her mom, her dad, her siblings, or in short terms, her loved ones, was the reason why she loathes the idea of death. She didn't want to feel the bottomless pit of sadness, longing, and despair that someone gets whenever a loved one has perished. But when it came to her death, she did not despise the idea of it. At an early age, she concluded and accepted that when it ends, it ends. After all, everything that is part of nature must die. As a kid, she was very timid. She didn't have the confidence upon her shoulders. She was hostile to the system of the school. She didn't like being there, so she didn't do well at it. But her siblings did, which served as a conduit to insecurities, and she felt that she was the imbecile of her family. Her childhood was not an ideal one. It was the total opposite in the movies. Iriana's adolescence was her prime years. She considered these as her prime years because she had experienced the good and the bad. It was her exploring and experimental days. It was also when her insecurities and agony had flourished. She was not comfortable with her own skin. The question, why am I lost, was residing in her mind. She was not a people person, hence, she didn't have a lot of friends. She focused on establishing a good quality group of friends. She was the type of person who advises someone to be strong, but when it comes to herself, she is the most fragile and vulnerable. She wants to project to other people that she is tough, and she always wants to radiate positivity because she doesn't not want to magnetize the pessimistic world that she lives into to the people she loves. How hypocrite that must be. Kidding aside, it seems like in the previous passages, she lived a despondent life, but she thought she had won the lottery because she was surrounded by the people who think she loved her. Friends who come and go in her life taught her how to become the best version of herself. She was able to be nurtured by her parents, aunts, and uncles about different cultures because they had brought her to many places. She deeply appreciates the millions of laughs and advice that she had exchanged with the people that had set foot in her life. She is extremely grateful to the invaluable things that she had in her life, like her career, family, and friends. It brings her joy whenever she makes dishes and desserts for other people. It lights up her eyes whenever people are delighted with the food that she served them. Cooking and baking was her love language. She lived to love, laugh, and learn. Her life was not a polished one, and yet she was able to live her life to the fullest. As her hair turns gray and her skin starts to resemble a bark, she concluded that the sole purpose of life is to wander. Wandering had helped her to gain knowledge about the world and certain phenomena. Wandering fed her inquisitive mind. Her ultimate goal was to be remembered. Now let us celebrate her life and let her live in our hearts forever.